Going home with friends from training, the earthquake occurred that turned Ayumu Mutou's life upside down. On the other hand, Koichiro Mutou survived without injuries as his safety ropes helped him. However, when he got on his scooter, a building suddenly collapsed on the bridge he was on. Mary Mutou was on the plane heading towards Tokyo, but the aircraft was damaged and had emergency landed. Mari then decided to jump into the water. Go Mutou was having lunch when the big earthquake happened. He was injured but brought back by Nanami Miura. Somehow they were able to gather on a hill with few survivors. As they tended to the injured people, there they had also witnessed how this had affected Tokyo. Night came, and a man informs them that the evacuation center had been destroyed. Another then passed on food and water. While reading the news, they found out that Okinawa fell. In the morning, the group decided to move due to the water rising and splitting when they reached the crossroad. The Mutou family with Nanami heading west and the others heading east. After a small earthquake, the group decided to use the hills. They encountered a river where they filled up their water. Following the river, they ended up in a residential home where a wild boar appeared, becoming their dinner that night. The next day, they found signs that indicated yams were buried there, not noticing signs for buried explosives. Deciding to dig them up, Koichiro hit something metallic when an explosive went off, instantly killing him. Blaming herself for her father's death, Ayumu got angry at how calm her mother was. While arguing, a truck drove towards them and they got on. The intoxicated truck driver then drove their way to a gas station. As Nanami went to wash her hands, the driver tried assaulting her. She managed to get away with help, and they took the truck. They were forced to continue on foot as a landslide covered the road. During a bathroom break in the mountains, Nanami dropped to the ground. Although it was caused by poisonous gas, Ayumu still blamed herself for her death. Kite, the YouTuber they had met, decided to take them somewhere safe, which was a supermarket with electricity. They ended up changing clothes. However, the owner decided to make himself known as he sent a remote control car and fired warning shots. The group attempted to hide, but Go was hit on the back of his chest. Kite hurriedly performed first aid, whereas the owner came out and apologized. Go was fine as it was his console that took the hit. The owner then welcomed them to stay the night. When they woke up the next day, the building was tilted at 7 degrees and realized it was not just the building, but the whole Japan archipelago was leaning towards the Pacific Ocean. They prepared to leave, heading towards Shen City, the safest place yet. As another morning comes, they came across a foreigner, Daniel, and had told them to come with them. That night, they reached Shen City, where an Osumu welcomed them and offered curry. He also showed them tents where they can stay the night. In the morning, Daniel joins the group and explains that the mother communicates with the deceased and that Lord Daichi, the face of Shen City, was the intermediary. Kunio then tells Go to follow the mother to observe the ceremony. Amidst this, Kite accused the mother of being fake and handed a pair of glasses to Ayumu. The mother then uses her ability to tell them that the owner wanted the break and to not worry about it. Ayumu recognizes this as Nanami. During supper, Subaru informed the group that school and work were available for those interested. Mari sends Ayumu and Go to school while she and Haru went to work harvesting weeds in a marijuana field. That night, another argument between Mari and Ayumu. Early morning came and Ayumu came back to their tent where she saw her mother waiting. They then remembered Koichiro and comforted each other. Due to morphine withdrawal, Kunio had gotten violent and was held up in a cell. Wondering why he was kept alive, Kane says it was to keep things peaceful until Lord Daichi's birthday. Ayumu is once again taking care of the sick old man who is trying to tell her something in Morse code. Deciding to translate it, she realized it was the famous geologist, Mr. Onodera. Ayumu tells her mom that Onodera told her that a huge earthquake would happen. Meanwhile, Go looks for Meat Cleaver and overhears Kunio. That evening during the festival, Ayumu and Mari warned everyone but were brushed off. They then see fire coming from the field which caused panic. Kite manages to sneak into the storage and reaches Kunio as he gives him morphine. An earthquake occurs. Seburo tries to save Go by throwing himself on him, urging him to run off. While everyone tries to escape, Osamu gives Kite the keys to release Kunio. They then find Kanane injured and they head to Daichi. However, a rock fell on Daichi, killing him. Daniel helps the Mutou get Onodera on the truck. Daniel decides to be left behind. Kunio convinces Kite to leave him in order to save himself. Kite then finds the Mutou and escapes before the building collapses, albeit with difficulty. As the survivors approach the evacuation ships, they found out through Ayumu's former coach that they are only boarding young people with promising futures. Mari convinces Ayumu to join her team. However, at the last minute, Ayumu decided not to and just stay with her mom despite Onodera warning them about Mount Fuji's condition. As Mount Fuji erupts, the Mutous traveled away from the smoke where they eventually saw a megafloat that was only boarding pure Japanese. Thus the group could not board. Another man then offers his ship. As they sail into the sea, they saw small explosions on the megafloat, eventually sinking it. Debris hit their ship, sinking it as well. Big waves separate them, and Go and Ayumu end up with the boat owner on a lifeboat. As they couldn't find land, they realized Japan sank. As they spend the night on the lifeboat, the children woke up with a bird eating the boat owner's corpse. The children later spend their whole day talking and passing time and striving for survival. A boat reaches the children, reuniting them with Mari and Haru. They realize that the numbers given to them by Onodera were coordinates. Guessing it was near Hiroshima, they make a compass and head their way. They soon found a motorboat strapped to the dock. Mari then decided to swim for it, telling her children that her cardiac assisting device is dying and that it is failing. After freeing the motorboat, she did not make it. Releasing their mother, the children with Haru head towards the coordinates. They see a flipped boat taking food supplies with them. Their motorboat eventually stops, but a military vehicle approached them containing Kite. They board the vehicle and decided to rest on a lighthouse. Arriving at their destination, Kite decided to accompany Onodera into the cave where the base was. However, as another earthquake hit them, the cave got flooded, which resulted in the USB, hidden on Onodera's tooth, getting lost in the waves. Kite decided to use the tank of oxygen, switching it between the two, but the tank was punctured and Onodera passed out. He tried to do CPR outside the cave and eventually saved him. Haru then tried to run for the stuck USB, however, after tossing it to Ayumu, he was thrown away by the waves. Losing Haru, they continued. Reaching a building, Kite explains that according to the data in the USB, Japan may rise again in the future. They then created a raft and headed to where land may rise. Kite then sees a balloon and got on it, where he eventually got a signal. This caused a helicopter to locate the children's phones, saving them. The children woke up in a Russian hospital where they were treated. 8 years later, most of Japan is still underwater, however, some land has already risen where Japan is slowly rebuilding. Japan may have recovered from that disaster, but will our hearts ever? Life with disaster, earthquakes never seems so realistic, yet out of reach. Comment down below some of your thoughts and make sure you stay connected, and we'll see you on the next one.